Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and hello to each and every one of you who have taken the time to watch us this time. And we are glad to be here once again to discuss issues confronting a country on the west coast of Africa known as Liberia. There are two issues we want to discuss this morning. Importantly, so we want to talk a little bit about, you know, how maintained are the bridges in Liberia. I've been crossing my eyes on the bridges in Liberia, specifically three bridges that are within the center or the pathway of entering the capital city of Liberia, Monrovia. And that is the Simport Bridge and the two bridges right before you get to the central city. How maintained are the bridges in Liberia? Are there inspection plans? How is the government of Liberia taking the bridges serious? How old are those bridges? Is the government even concerned about the bridges generally in Liberia? The major bridges in Liberia? Is there a document that will speak to the continuous maintenance of bridges in Liberia? Are there plans? Or is it like a don't care activity? Is this one of those things that the government of Liberia do when they feel like doing it? Or they want to create some eye service activity to go ahead and do it? Or is it a matter of realizing that there is a danger if bridges in Liberia are not maintained? So this morning we want to talk about them because guess what? Um, there is a probability that if a bridge is supposed to last for 50 years, 25 years or above, and there is a need for maintenance, and when there are no concerns from the government of Liberia to maintain bridges, there is a high probability that one day there will be a serious accident, meaning there will be a damage, to a bridge among all of the bridges you have in Liberia. So we're concerned, what is the government of Liberia doing? Have they been maintaining those bridges? So this is something we want to talk about this morning. Another thing we want to talk about, just cross our eyes on Girl Scout, Consular Scout's case. Right? We still to concern the house. The reason why the house you get behind me is the house of Consular Global Muscle Scout. And that 15 we don't want to talk about the murder alone. We want to talk about the way in which public servants construct, build properties, and by the time when they're out of office, the maintenance of those pieces of property become matter for them. All right? And this is not just unique to Councillor Scott, but Councillor Scott herself. I mean, just by looking at the house itself, it speaks volume. The maintenance of this house. Somebody will say, oh, the woman is on a stretch. Don't talk too much about the environment. No, we speak about the environment because the environment matters to some of the things that have happened. And there are other pictures that we have concerning the Scout compound. And honestly, that compound, sorry to speak, is not, wasn't really taken care of as seeing someone who be at the epitome of justice in Liberia. There's a lot of bridge around Council Scout compound. Let me be honest with you. I mean, I don't have the time to show all the pictures right now, but there's a lot of situations, even just the picture that you see. How often is Councillor Scout, a permanent citizen of Liberia, has been painted? I said, well been taken care of. These are people who handle money, who have used public resources. So when you leave office, what happened next? You know what? Sometimes when people in public offices, that's the time they should realize that not just even maintenance of property, but that they should realize that one day they will leave this world. And whatever they have acquired, if you build a gigantic house, like for example, George Weah Gab, and they say, well, for the 3 or whatever, for the 7, whatever compound that he built, in a short period of time, what we would think on the basis of state resources, Can those properties be maintained with Georgia leave the same? Goreska House, the compound of under how many acres is there? Some of the pictures and the images we're getting is that they are not being maintained as what it should be. Right? So we use the situation and also caution those who think property matters and negating the livelihood of the Liberian people is a situation that is favorable. No, it's not. There's nothing favorable when you have a reason. If government, you are allowed to serve, service to the people must be their well-being, especially the heads of the three branches of government. Look at the Chief Justice, the President of Liberia, the Speaker. Those are fundamental positions within the government structure of Liberia, that when you occupy, it is expected of you that you will do the honorable thing to serve Liberians. Because when you leave the scene, you will be an ordinary Liberian. So Councillor Scott's house. Now, some say intruders went in there. Others say, no, the house is too built, it's too, what they call, distant. No intruder can go in there. So we get the picture, and the picture that we see, just the house alone, I can tell you an intruder can enter this house, the way the house is being structured, the way it is looking. I don't have the evidence, but we repeat the information. But just by looking at the picture alone, criminal can enter this house. Look at the yard alone. This house. I'm not talking about the entire compound. This is not the picture of the entire compound. If you see the picture of the entire compound, you will know for sure that anyone who wants to do harm can enter this house. This has nothing to do with the case that is going on at the court. But let's face it, this is reality. This is the physical scene. Those who live around there. In fact, this picture, the court said go to the New Dawn newspaper. We got a picture from them. All right. So maintenance of property, you should always think about those things. I'm not going to live the next 25 years. I'm building a house. Can I build a house that when I leave office that I can maintain? I think every government official should be asking themselves that question. Building Jinjati structure is not life. Right? I listened to a football player, I think he's from Ghana, right? Somebody posted that information I was reading. There's a young man who has a broken phone. He's a millionaire, but he had a broken phone, and people were wondering why would he even have that. He said, guess what? I was suffering. I was one of those kids that suffer when I was growing up. So I'd rather help those people who need help rather than buying the best of cars. He said, I have money to buy the latest car. What benefit me when God has blessed me? I just ignore what I came from. That's the mindset of a true human being. You're always concerned about the ordinary people. When God elevates you, it means you should look back and help other people. That's the concern that we all have. And we emphasize in Glorious God because in our case, right, for me, I just thought to look at the compound itself this morning. Look at the compound. Look at the house, not the entire compound, but this is just the house. How often will Glorious God call people? I know she call people, they clean her yard and all of those things, but at this stage, the pictures taken at this particular point in time, it doesn't look like it's being well maintained. Right? And that's one thing we want to talk about. On Charles Mosul may also rest in peace. We hope the killer will be found. We hear the government of Liberia has run to the Supreme Court. Well, that's the theater. That's what they're supposed to do. File motions, counter motions, go to the Supreme Court on issues and all those things. Yeah, these are the things we expect. But the important thing is the evidence must be proven that Councillor Scout and those alleged to have committed the murder, indeed, they did do, on the basis of the evidence that will be produced. So from the case, we are hearing that the defense counsel has asked the prosecuting team to present the evidence upon which they indicted these people. And it's just fair enough, right? If you run to grand jury, you arrested these people, you charge them with multiple crimes, you must have had the high evidence to prove that indeed these people committed a crime. So if the defense filed a motion for these people to show the evidence, of course, I mean, the courtroom is not a place to hide, put the evidence under your sleeve or put it under your, people in the Liberian way, they say put it under your arm and move with it. Like, it's not supposed, the other person not supposed to see it. Right? So provide evidence. You're not even run the Supreme Court. You should have all of it. You know, it's an act of law. It's a process. It's a procedural part of the law. So provide evidence to your adversary so they can use it to and say, oh yeah, these evidence are very genuine. Or maybe that could even have to give Glorious a speedy trial if and only if the evidence is so glaring. So we keep our eyes on that. And that's a very important issue. We will keep talking about it until that case ends. Because guess what? Life is lost. Someone's child has been killed. Who killed this child? It's important Liberian people get to know. If the Liberian National Police has been reckless in gathering their information, or they are not truthful in gathering their information, or they don't have the evidence, that also will be an issue. But as far as it is concerned, the allegation being made, it appears that the Liberian National Police or the government of Liberia has strong evidence. That's why that's why they arrested these people and charged them for committing murder and other crimes. So we are hoping that the trial will reveal the fact. If Councillor Scott killed this girl, honestly, she's not above the law. She should serve the penalty as related to murder. Right? Oh yeah, she should serve the penalty. If and only if she committed the act. That's one big issue that we think is important. The evidence must be produced to find these people guilty of committing the crime, or find a specific person that really took that instrument and killed this girl. It's important. So we'll keep talking about this until this case comes to an end. But what is more important for us this morning is that we want to cross our eyes on the breaches in Liberia. You know why? There's a lot of information coming out of Liberia when it comes to waterways, how places are getting flooded, and some of those places are getting flooded is unbelievable. People keep talking about some situations, and then when we hear these things, it's like we ask all of the hard questions. And we do not know whether there will be answers, but we hope to challenge some of those persons who are in authority so that they can do what they need to do. There's a changing world. There's a climatic conditions being changed. People are looking at different situations that are affecting the climate. As a result of that, you're getting the ocean, the ice, what they call the glacier is melting, and there's a lot more going on, and these oceans are all, they say, well, the waters are rising up. So what you do is not to think that you are not sitting along the Arctic cycle, but rather you should realize that when there is an increase as a result of melting ice, the water even go up at 1 inch above its normal position, you must feel the weight. You must be concerned as a Liberian that this will affect us too. More so if you have waterways that you are not cleaning, like the drainages, not just doing things to serve, to make Liberians believe that you're doing work. That's not what it requires. It's about having a genuine plan. You have two major seasons in Liberia. When there is a dry season, you should use that opportunity, use state resources, and clean all of the waterways. So that when the rainy season comes, you will have water freely flows towards the Atlantic. So you will not have people's homes being destroyed as a result of that. If you don't do that, what happens? The water table start rising up. So when it rains, the water doesn't sink, it doesn't run down. What it do is set up, right? You see the waters entering into different communities easily. And let me be funny, the reason why I did it today, because even I heard that even in Ganta City, the major street got flooded in recent time. So I asked myself, I said, Ganta is not in the lowland area, right? I've been to Ganta, I know Ganta. Ganta is not in the lowland area, especially so the main street, right? So why would water Why will it rain and then you will have the street flooded up? I mean, when you think about it, then you might be thinking about Liberia in its entirety. Now, Morovia, some of us, you just go to Google Earth and just try to see how Liberia looked like. It is important that those who are in authority, like for example, the Public Works Ministry, they should be more concerned about the structural effect of breaches in Liberia and waterways, how they need to get involved in cleaning those things. Not just that, especially when it comes to cleaning the waterways, it's not just public works. The Mora City Mayor or the city authority, they have a major role to play when it comes to cleaning the city. Imagine we send somebody right on Broad Street. Broad Street is not a swampy area, right? But Broad Street, right below Crown Hill, we sent a reporter over there, our correspondent, and the fellow was in the rain and could see that whole place of flooded. No car could pass easily. What is responsible for those things? Lack of maintenance of roads. When you don't maintain the road, you don't clean the drainages, these are the results, the consequences of what will happen, of things that you're supposed to do. If you fail to perform your task, that's what will happen. Now, the question we asked this morning, how maintained are the bridges in Liberia, particularly so the bridge, as well, Gabriel Tucker Bridge, right? How long, when last did the government of Liberia maintain that one bridge? Let's talk about that one bridge for a while. When last did the government of Liberia really do an inspection of that bridge? You know what I'm talking about inspection? There must be an inspection plan. There's something called what? Beat plan, what? A maintenance beat plan for the bridges, those who have bridges. So those who constructed that bridge should last for certain years. There's a year tag to that bridge. If it was for 25 years, it's over 25 years. And importantly, you must also realize that the traffic pattern of that bridge has changed based on the population growth or the movement of people from one point, from across to come to Monrovia, from Monrovia back. So those things are factors that those who are responsible should always be looking at. So when last did the government of Liberia maintain that bridge, that Gabriel Tucker Bridge? I hope I'm getting it right. That bridge that right when you come from what is the street? You come from Broad Street, coming down the hill, and get on the bridge and go on Bridge Island. That bridge is what I'm talking about. That bridge is right over Providence Island. When last did the government of Liberia maintain it? Maintenance, you know what I would think about maintenance? Maintenance would be what the first thing that would be an inspection plan. Is that an inspection plan that the government of Liberia has? When last was there an inspection? When we talk about inspection, it's not just go stay in a coat suit and put your hand in your pocket and walk on the bridge and come back. No, that's what we're talking about. It's to look at every element of the bridge. My understanding about bridges, how you inspect bridges is to always, even if you must have divers who will go underwater and be able to see the steel or whatever was used to build the bridge, how they are being maintained. Do you paint to stop the corrosion? What do you call these ions always get eaten up as a result of seawater or like a salt water and all of those stuff. So the inspection of the bridges will be taking all of this into account. Because if you don't do that, and let us assume way beneath that, the ions that are being built was intended for 25 years, 50 years, and you have not looked at it, you don't care about it because you feel like, well, you're not seeing it. Guess what? If those things get destroyed, that bridge, one day, it might not even be in your lifetime. And that's the recklessness of the people. And they were not happy in my lifetime, so I don't care. No. Like in America here, people are seen every year in, year out. So that you ask yourself, but wait now, people don't get a job. Every family they're on the road, some of the black, the other road, they're doing this, they're doing that. People get annoyed, but sometimes the people have their work plan. They know what they're supposed to do every year. So when you have a bridge that Morovia have major bridge. The last time the other bridge got cut from the water side end, that was early in time, right? Yeah, that bridge got broken, got destroyed. They were forced to build at that time that tiny little one. People didn't even think more beyond themselves. They built out the tiny little one. So well, because they were cut up. There was no time to make a major big plan to build a bridge beyond what was there. So we always cause the old people, right? Joseph Jimmy Rabos, Stephen Ali Benson, up to William Arrow. Okay, I will give credit to the other people and the other people that know. I don't want to talk much about them. But those bridges were built before all the other people came to be. So the bridges that are there now, it is your responsibility as a government to go to public work minister. In fact, the president of Liberia, I don't know when like ever called for a public work to submit an annual report, or the legislature to call for an annual report, and that this annual report did capture or presented the situation about those bridges. If you are a legislator and you're not concerned about the bridges, that means you don't care for the country. I mean, you don't care. Right now, we are understanding the bridge linking Buchanan, Grand Bazaar to the rest of the people, the major bridge that people use on that side. We are told there's a problem. I think part of it is broken, right? I don't have the facts of this thing. Somebody just told me that. Right? Maybe we'll ask some of our colleagues to see whether they can go over there and see. But if you are not inspecting, you are not maintaining these bridges, that's what will happen. Poor maintenance. Even if you're maintaining them and giving poor maintenance to those bridges, the first thing, I don't know whether, for example, if any media institution, when the public were to say, well, can you give me your inspection plan for the bridges in the two major bridges over there? That's the three major. Because it's important bridge, when the bridge that leads from that bridge, Simport Bridge, right? If that bridge got destroyed, I mean, all the other people from the different counties coming from Kitmang, Bapulu, Bombing. Yeah, I think these are the major counties over there, right? That's Kitmang, that's Bapulu, that's Bombing, that's yeah. These are in all the surrounding areas. These are the major counties from that end. Meaning for them to come to Morovia would be a problem. And you can't afford to get that bridge being destroyed. So you don't wait until the situation unfolds. That's why people must be a thinking group of people. That I'm sure those who constructed those bridges, they left behind a plan. It was said, how long will the bridges, as particularly so those three bridges we're talking about, how long were they to last? The other small bridge got damaged the last time. Since then, when last did people ever thought of looking at the other bridge? When last ever was there an inspection? I'm not sure whether anybody have ever gone over there to do an inspection of the bridge, of the bridges. So what are you waiting for? Until something happens? Then you start looking for things to do? No. You must maintain those bridges. Believe it. Sorry, that's something just popped up, right? So there must be a regular inspection. Regular inspection will be structural observation, visual observation, go down there and see, okay, this bridge, we think, even, I think there's a bridge that I saw one time, and people pass on the bridge every time. So even if the irons that are used, that people put their hands on to pass so they can't fall over, if those irons are eating up, it's just a simple thing that people should know how to put those things back, right? And sometimes you pin them. And you go beyond that. So there must be a routine cleaning of the bridges. How do you do it? It's not just going to take broom and sweep over the bridge. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The cleaning would be, you look at all of the structural adjustment. Is there a board that's going to be somewhere and that board is no longer there? What can you just need to go and find a maintenance crew, the people who are responsible for that, to go and take care of those things? Because if you don't do it, if a board was put on the bridge, that board has a purpose. So if you don't care, That means you just don't care for Liberians. People are moving up and down. Ordinary person don't get time. All they want to get in the morning is to move and move up and come back, move above. That's all they do. So you were elected or appointed to serve. So you should be looking at these things as a way or as an obligation placed on the government. So there must be a regular inspection of the breaches in Liberia. If the people have not been done, if they haven't do that, it's time that they should do that, because you can't leave then you say, oh, I mean, when we were there, people are now boasting of things. Oh yeah, we've been doing it well. We're taking Liberian people out of poverty. Oh yeah, let's agree that you do all those things now, but the physical things that we will see will not exactly Liberian coming out of poverty. We're not discussing other things. We're talking about just breaches today. How often do you do inspection of those breaches? Public Works Minister when Joe Weah himself, I will ask for a report to understand how the breaches we're talking about. Is George Weah aware? Since George Weah was even a boy or the child crossing over those very breaches, now he's president of Liberia. Is he concerned? Has he ever called for an inspection report about the breaches? I'm not sure he has done that, but maybe. All right. But the way the update they gave in Liberia, but Liberia people know, oh yeah, the people are really doing well. They maintain the breaches. People get in and carry some tractor or something to clean some place and face the road. We're going to see when there are issues to be concerned about. One of those I'm talking about is what the bridges in Liberia. How maintained are those bridges? The waterways. Freeport. When it rains, that whole Freeport place is flooded up. People hardly pass easily. What have you been doing? Even as we speak, maybe it's raining today. Some people around are causing that. I mean, there are in some people homes are being flooded. All right. So we thought to talk about this because when people don't talk, so now other people who have their responsibility, they will not act. I know I have my own mentor. I don't know. I think Tor is a public minister, right? My own classmate before. So I hope that he's doing what he need to do, cross his eyes and all those stuff. Maybe, or maybe not. But it's important that people should be very concerned about the breaches in Liberia. That's a very infrastructural issue that people should not forget about. All right. So there must be a structural repairs. How long? When last did the government of Liberia doing Ellington, Georgia time? When last did people do any structural repairs of the bridges? Don't tell me the bridges don't have problems. They do. They do. But when last you ever send people that to do the inspection to know the problem before you do the structural changes? Maybe not. Right? And some of those things you're doing it's not about boasting, but you let people know, okay, this is how we spend your money. Public Works Minister, how much money you have been used? What is being allotted for bridges to be reconditioned? Or do some structural adjustment of the bridges. The drainage system around those bridges. Sometimes some of the bridges I know it's always constructed in such a way that even water wouldn't set around it. How often do you go in those places and clean it up? The hardest part of it is divers. I don't know whether you ever will even get, but you don't have to get the trained manpower for that. There's a way to hire people to come. Just a matter of getting divers. If you're just concerned about making those things work, you can come to America, you ask them for divers. You can go in there, go do your assessment of your bridge and give you a report. But if you don't care, you're not going to ask questions. You're not even going to hire people to go out and do the job. This is why when giving scholarship, you find competent Liberians, give them scholarship. You need engineers, the what do you call civil engineers who are trained in building bridges. These are people you need. Every nation need these kind of people that will just be permanent employees. So as year go in, you train more people. So you have people who will just live to maintain the infrastructure of the country. But if you don't have concern about these things, nobody will know. If you have people who just from the public minister who are just assigned to bridges, people will go beyond Monrovia. But if you don't get Moreover bridges maintained, tell me, are you going to think about bridges in Lofa County? Or bridges in the southeastern side, or bridges in there's one major bridge we have on Kidmont Highway, right? Kidmont, there's a long bridge. I think there's some kind of a structural repair, just condition. I'm not even seeing that as really a repair. Or the Simport River. Is that a Simport? Yeah, Simport River. I think that's a bridge between Bapulu and Kidmont, or Bome and Kidmont. So if you can maintain, if you don't have an inspection booklet, that even when you leave the same, other people come and say, okay, this bridge needs to be maintained every year or every 2-3 years. And out of that, we have maintained this bridge. 2020 we did it, 2023 we did it, or whatever it's like, whatever your report is like. In fact, that's what those who are oversight responsibility, I know in the Public Work Committee in the House and Senate, are they asking these questions? Or they too don't care? There's a need for what we call annual report, right? Even when we were just legislative staffers, we were always concerned when we worked for that institution. And some of us, our discussion used to make those people who were responsible to ask the hard questions. When you work in the institution, you help your bosses to make better decisions for the country. We're not bragging about that, but when we were over there, we told people what we thought, because we felt we all had obligation. So we were asking all of the hard questions. If there were no annual reports, we were concerned. We were asking representatives. So why would people have not brought annual reports? And Sunday will make all the right statement and caution those people. Press releases, send it out. Legislature calling on all ministries and agencies to submit an annual report. We did all of those things because we felt these people were obligated to the people of Liberia. But I'm not sure since real government came, there has been public institutions that have submitted annual reports consistently as per law. The Public Works Minister, how many annual reports has he submitted? What have been some of the challenges in renovating or conditioning these bridges, if there have even been an inspection of these bridges? How many bridges are there in Liberia? Do they know? I don't know, but I doubt it. I doubt it if you were to ever ask the Public Works Authority whether they will state on the record we have 100 bridges, 130 bridges, we have this and that. And out of the 100 bridges, we have maintained 12, 25, whatever number they have done. I'm not sure anybody concerned about these things I'm talking about this morning, especially those who are responsible. But given the benefit of that, maybe they have concern about, but the Liberian people will speak to it. If anybody who believes that the government of Liberia has inspected primarily these three bridges, the Simport Bridge, the Gilbert Tucker Bridge, and the other bridge that was constructed by Ellen Johnson, reconstructed, just drop a comment below. We'll be glad to read it and follow up on that. But if bridges are constructed or maintained, constructed and not maintained, there's a danger to the people of Liberia, to the users, those who plow on the street every day, those who move from one point to another every day. You never would tell when a situation will come. And the crazy thing is, sometimes if it is not an ordinary person, it may just be you. It may be me. I could live in America and go to Liberia. Me, while driving at a particular instant time, something will happen. So why would we sit in America and just think, say, oh, you know what, I am American, I don't care, because my American people here, they maintaining their bridges every day. But we speak that because we all have roots in our country, and there's no reason why there must be any government that will not look at the kind of infrastructure, major infrastructures. Now, for those who even want to, this is election time, right? These are things that Liberians should be basing their vote on. Why these people are not maintaining the bridges? When last they ever came to do inspection of the bridges? Especially those of you who live around there, you know the condition around. You know when it rains, what is happening. Are you asking the hard questions? If you don't ask the people don't care. All they do right now is to give you free money, and then you take the money, either you bring them back, and they just keep enjoying themselves while you keep living in the dirt. you know. So we are concerned this morning to know whether there are routine maintenance of the bridges in Liberia. George Weah by now should know how many bridges in the country. Nobody should tell me George Weah, not probably a minister. George Weah has, it's like you must know the status of Liberia. If somebody's supposed to know the status of Liberia, that's some of the things we'll be asking questions about. How many bridges are there? You should have been asking the public minister. If there are continual cabinet meetings, Mr. Maybe I don't know how to do that cabinet meeting, but I would believe that they will have, certain ministry and agency report at a certain time, and then the rest of the other people quiz those questions because they all should be concerned about the well-being of Liberia and condition of Liberia. So, for example, if the public welfare minister was expected to report, George should be asking, my man, Mr. Minister, how many bridges we have in the country? What the fact? You say maybe 200, whatever number he calls. Out of those amount, how many bridges have you conditioned so far? If he lies, the person has a right to suspend, dismiss, reappoint, and all of those things. But the president himself is not asking questions. These people relax. They don't concern. If there is no fire on the turtle's back, the turtle is not going to try to run. Right? So people want to do what they can do for Liberians to see them doing. That's what they be concerned about. But how many times Liberians saw a real crew going to any of those bridges for the purpose of an inspection and for the purpose of ensuring regular maintenance? There might be a surface repair of the bridges. I know now Christmas coming, they can paint the bridges, right? I used to see that happening when I was in Liberia. So they would take the blue and white, red, blue, and white color and paint the bridge, the handed part and all those stuff. But that's what I'm talking about now. Yeah, the painting is good. That's very design. But the surface maintenance of the bridges are important. Look at everything. The cement, the irons, whatever they have there. I'm not an engineer, so I wouldn't tell you all of those things. How much time do you have allotted to maintain the bridges in Liberia? That's one good concern we have for you this morning. So for the surface repair, you have the structural repairs that you should do. You must do painting or coating for, steel bridges. You have irons and all of those stuff. Those irons get eaten up. They get rusty in the Liberian way of saying, right? So when the rust gets on those irons, the corrosion, that means there is, like for example, the sea water, especially beneath there, they get eaten up, right? So those structural repair must, so if the iron is holding one of the bridges and for some reason it has gotten rusty and then it's about to get broken or whatever, there must be a way to replace those things. That's what we're talking about. When last we're there, is structural repair. Inspection before even a repair. Is there a repair report? Has there been a request from the legislature asking for a report of looking at those bridges in Liberia? I don't know, but I doubt it very seriously. Right? But people can prove some of us wrong. The Public Minister can even respond to some of our comments. So no, we have had continual maintenance. For the people of Liberia, the Constitution says you are on obligation to inform the Liberians as to what you do as a government. So when you're doing the social replacement, you take pictures and place them, do special advertisement. That's some other way that these people should make that money. They themselves will be glad to inform these people. Pay for center spread. Display the maintenance, the renovation, whatever work you are doing on those bridges. Those were things that made Liberian people have confidence in you. Now when election come in, you go all around, lying all around. When the minister finally take the airway, just like somebody superhuman being doing all of those things, just to lie and fool Liberian people. When the major things should be done is not being done, and none of you are asking those questions. People who don't care to deceive Liberians. So we cross our eyes on this morning, and we are hoping that those of you who probably listen to us, those of you who have friends in the government, this is time for people to look at the country's interest matters most than anything else. You can build a country, but you don't maintain it, it's going to ruin, it's going to waste, and the people suffer. That's what we're talking about. That's a major thing I want to say about too. When I was a boy coming up, when we moved in Monrovia earlier, I had a friend, Daniel Baba. I don't know where he is right now, but his parents were living West Point, and we used to visit them very often, right? Because we all grew up in Kidman, so we were best friends. So I used to go to Daniel Baba. There's a major street we used to cross on every time. Not cross, we used to walk on. That street divided West Point all the way to go to where the Fontaine people used to do that fishing. So Baba on the other side. They keep a time before I ever came to the States. I walked in that place sometime and I saw unbelievable that the ocean has reached that quota row and has eaten half of the place. You know, when you see those things, you ask out of your heart questions, sometimes you don't get answered. In the worst is happening in Liberia. BDC, you have BDC. We used to go to BDC sand beach and play it around there. But the seawater, the sea has eaten, the erosion eaten half of those places. Go to Hotel Africa. When last did people go into Spain? When last people do inspection of the country to even say, well, there will be a thing to see around. In fact, right now, the thing I can say right here. So now the last time I just went on Google Earth and I went around Liberia. I just sit down and just look at every edge of the country. And see some of the impact of things. Sometimes I may not see it, as real as it's supposed to be, but I can tell you some of those things that are happening around. And these are things that anybody can do, right? Like I go on the southeast and see some other stuff, something like lava and all those stuff. It's not really volcano, but just something that I cannot identify what it is. But I can see something that don't seem to be real. But it's only up to those who are in authority. How serious are they looking at the country, the landmass of the country, the people in the country, and to make some major decisions that can help Liberians to live the life that they were placed on this earth for. So this is something I just thought to cross my eyes on this morning. How maintained are the bridges in Liberia? Is there an inspection plan? The Public Works Ministry, do they have an inspection plan for the bridges in Liberia? Not just the 3 bridges I'm talking about, but bridges in Liberia in totality. Are there plans? The Public Works Minister, can any media institution walk to the Public Works Minister and say, can I see their bid plan? I think bid plan is a phrase used for knowing this inspection, how people, plan to do continuous or routine maintenance of bridges. So there must be this bid plan that they have. The government, if they don't have it, then no need for them to be in government, honestly. If people have no structural plan for maintaining the bridges in the country, then there's no need for them there's no need for anyone thinking about these people to be re-elected. If I'm in Liberia, maybe I will ask somebody to go purposely, just to ask, right? Maybe I'll send somebody to a Public Works Minister, just go and ask them specifically for this plan, whether there's any. If they have it and they have done continual inspection, we can help them to advertise that for them, free of charge. Tell Liberians, so the Gibraltar Bridge had been maintained, it was maintained January or February, or whatever, it maintained this year, or it maintained last year, whatever. Or maybe we'll send some of the Public Works to go and see. Ask them whether there's a bid plan for all of the bridges in Liberia. If I ask them, how many bridges are there in the Republic of Liberia? I don't know. So, but I'm curious. I want to know. So these are issues we thought to talk about this morning. If you're a Public Works Minister, you don't know how many bridges in the country, then you don't need to be a Public Works Minister. Let me be honest with you. You don't supposed to be. If you're president of Liberia, you don't know how many bridges in the country, then you don't qualify to be president of Liberia. If you are a president and do not know the number of bridges in I'm talking about bridges, I'm talking about major bridges in the country, then there's no need that you become president. That means you are unfit to be president. Because these are things, these are infrastructure that you should know about. Joe Biden just passed several, I think, trillions of dollars for the reconditioning of the bridges in the United States. Joe Biden not going to live long. I mean, not be reaching him about his age. So, but he can say and say, well, man, I wasn't be living, so I don't care. These people, they have patriotic duty to perform. Each of them get on the national stage, they do all of those stuff. Legislators, they debate the trillion-dollar projects and all of those stuff, and they gave some consideration. So those who are responsible to carry out these physical working, they are on the street every day. We see the people in the street every day. They are patching holes, they face constructing roads, facing bridges and all of those stuff. So a government, every government around the world, these are things that nobody, you can't tell me, say you don't know about it. That means I'll tell you friendly, you don't fit to be. Right? So that's what we want to talk about. And we want to call on all of you. Liberian, you don't ask the question, the media in particular. The media need to know. People fighting for election, right? So you don't wait for the people to tell you what the thing they have done. It's the media that should tell you, say, look, the people have not performed. They have not done what they should have done for Liberian people. Joey Akinwe on a big show, Coastal Highway. Coastal Highway, that one the basis on which Liberian people voted. The Southeasterners. They thought the Coastal Highway was something that they could relieve them, easily get them moving from Monrovia, coming to Monrovia by their goods, go back easily. Besides the Coastal Highway, the roads are dilapidated, the roads are bad. No one can see those roads and say, this is what we have for our country. But yeah, they say they have done everything. Summit Twitter and taking the airwave now. They want to convene Liberian. They're taking Liberian out of poverty. And Liberian people are all singing Song of Glory when their own conditions are not being improved. But the obligation is on you, the people of Liberia. You must challenge your people. There are more Liberians, there are many qualified Liberians. In fact, right now we get several of them who want to be president. It is true, some of them will not do nothing, but it's true some of them will do something. So open your eyes and be able to make a best decision. You want to get stuck with Josh Weir because you feel he has done well, it's your choice. Go all out for him. If you think you want to try somebody, there's nothing wrong trying anybody in this country on that place. Not because other people feel, everybody will continue to fail. Someday, somehow, in fact, I'm away, say, we have everybody running for one term. You out, you don't do nothing, you out. Another person come and try them. Because the country is almost like what? Everybody confused. Liberian people don't even know who to vote for. They say, oh, everybody kind of same old sound they're going to be singing. Right? But our conversation has been on bridges this morning, and we've been talking about the frequency of the bridges being maintained, how often the bridges in Liberia maintained. And we thought to cross our eyes on that and talking about, talking about the lifespan of a bridge. We don't know. I don't know whether the Public Minister has any information as to how long the bridges were constructed for, especially the major bridges in Monrovia. Whether there has been an impact as a result of heavy traffic in Monrovia. At the time when the bridges were constructed, the population was not what it is right now. So there might have been some heavy weight as a result of the population on the bridges. So if so, Liberian government can only know if they have done any inspection or whether there is a routine inspection plan to know the impact of some of these and the movement of people from one point to another. All right, there is, sometimes bad weather, right? Sometimes when the water gets filled, people don't know, but those bridges themselves, some of them, they withstand the pressure. But withstanding the pressure as a result of bad weather, could be for a certain period of time. So without inspection, you don't really know what is going on there. So if government of Liberia is not keen, is not concerned, is not hiring people to do the inspection and know the current condition of the bridge, people are taking loans and they are not thinking about these things. The loans are not geared toward these things. And people are not even thinking about building new bridges. So it means the pressure will continue to be on those bridges. And one day there might just be a situation of damages to the bridges or any of the bridges. And that would be a serious maybe accident, catastrophe that people who don't wish evil for anybody. But I'm seeing this thing there in a way, as I said, it could be even me. Sometimes you move from here, you go to Liberia, sometimes the thing you don't expect to happen, it happens. Right? So not just about even those who are there, even you here. If you have a friend in government, when you're keeping conversations, say, my man, look, when last you ever look at those bridges? When last you ever had cabinet meeting to have, a retrospect? Look back from where you came, where you took the country from. When you took over as a government, did the people see how long or when last the previous government did inspection on the bridges? If there was no record, those should have been your earlier conversation with the Liberian people. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf began being in power for 12 years. There's no single day she ever maintained those bridges. You would have said those things. Let Liberians know where you're taking the country from. But if Ellen Johnson Sirleaf did not recondition the bridges, and you yourself, you've been there for over 5 years, and you don't also care, it means then that you people don't care for the infrastructural development of that country. And that's a major issue that for which I don't think anybody should be president if you guys have not done that. All right? So these are a few things we think about. And earlier we said we cross our eyes on Grover Scout case. We are told that the prosecuting team has run to the Supreme Court. Well, that's the theater to getting justice. And I'm told the defense counsel is asking the prosecution to submit, to present to them the pieces of evidence upon which, indictment was drawn up. It's just about fair enough, and so we keep following that. All right. And we just struck our eyes on Grover Scout compound, the house. In our personal opinion, we think the former Chief Justice house, the way in some of the pictures we had, and we gave credit to the New Dawn newspaper, the picture from them, and the other pictures we had is from them. And it just, help us to make some analysis about the current situation in Liberia concerning the murder of Charlotte Musso. And we hope that she will rest in peace and that the real killer will be found. Whoever did that cruelty to that girl. We hope God in His own glory will reveal what has happened to that girl. That's our conversation this morning. And so those of you who are watching or will watch, please make a comment. How do you see the breaches in Liberia? Are you pleased with the breaches? Is there any observation? Do you think the government of Liberia has had any inspection? If yes, just make a comment below. We'll be glad to read it. Until then, this is the African Nationals Network. I am James Johnson. I've been sitting here this morning, and I wish each and every one of you a blessing and a wonderful day. Thank you so much for watching. Share the video, leave a comment. Until then, have a pleasant day. Bye for now.